As you can see behind me, the room is in a little bit of disarray because I'm packing. I am flying out tomorrow at 11:30 to Phoenix. Now, flying out at 11:30 doesn't mean that I leave the house at 11:30. No, no, no. It's at least 2 hours before that, so I've got to be up and ready to go. Not a bad thing. I'm a morning person, so that's pretty much taken care of. But you know, those of you who've seen the last video, I made my list. So I have my list of everything I was supposed to bring. I have my list of everything that I was supposed to do ahead of time. However, I did not complete that list, but that's okay. I got a lot more done than I would have. So very important to the list. And in your life, a list is great as well. You know, you make a goals list. You've heard other people talk about it. I think Brian Tracy's talked about it. I think Jack Canfield's talked about it. You know, if you don't know those names, Google them and then listen to their stuff. They're great in the self-helpy world. Make lists. You know, especially when you're talking about your goals. Know what you want. Well, I want to make more money. You need to really narrow that field quite a bit. You know, how much money are you talking about? How much do you want to, make? I want to be successful in my vocation. What's your vocation? What does success mean? You know, make lists and be very, very specific. And then start making steps towards those things. You know, I want to be, I want to learn to play the guitar. Okay. You know, I use that example a lot, but it's something that everybody can wrap their brain around. Find somebody that, your first step. Finding somebody that teaches how to play the guitar. If you know somebody, great. Then the first step is calling that person. If you don't know somebody, maybe this first step is the internet, going to a music store, talking to somebody that knows how to play the guitar, and finding a teacher. The next step is then figuring out whether or not they're going to be able to teach you. Working that kind of game plan. The next step is then taking a class. So there's steps towards making your goals come true. There's steps in the bigger part of everything. There's steps to making your dreams come true. Whether it's I want to be a brain surgeon, or you're going to have to go to a lot of schooling. Well, what are the steps for that? And yeah, there's a lot of stuff that comes along with it. But there was a book that came out somewhat recently. The same guy that wrote The Tipping Point also wrote Outliers, The Outliers. And he talked about a study that they did on the different people in a school that played concert violin or something like that, and how well they did in class, and what's the difference that they all had in common. The people who were like low end, mid end, and then the high end talent. What was the difference in all of those? Was the amount of time they put into practice. The amount of time versus 3,000 hours versus 5,000 hours versus 10,000 hours. And they found in other things this to be true. If you want to be at the head of your field, it's going to take about 10,000 hours. What are you willing to put 10,000 hours into? Are you willing to go the distance for your goals and your dreams? And are these dreams worthy of your life? If they're not, find something that is. And then make your lists and begin your 10,000 hours. I'm relatively new in the whole self-helpy thing. I mean, I've been studying universal healing Tao energy work for well over 10 years. I went to Thailand in 98 and actually began studying under Master Chia in 99. I studied a couple of years before that, so I've been over 10 years at this. Self-helpy stuff though, creating your own reality. Less time, but still it fascinates me, and it's captured my brain for quite a while. But me coming out here to you, certainly nowhere near 10,000 hours. Probably certainly nowhere near 3,000 hours. So I'm just beginning. I'm just a newbie. Being on stage, that's a different story. I've been doing that since, really 1987. So make your lists, apply them to your goals, begin your 10,000 hours. Read The Outliers if you want to, although I would recommend listening to it because I think it's a little slow. But that was just the beginning. I haven't finished the whole thing. Blah, that's what you're getting today. I hope that you've enjoyed this. And this may not be anywhere near 10,000 hours for me. Certainly not even an hour, but maybe 3 minutes and 50 seconds, maybe. These always seem longer when I'm recording them than they are in actuality. I think I'm going to finish up now, and I'm going to go see a movie with Ron Bauman, one of my fellow Tortuga Twins, and finish packing somewhere in there. I don't know. Let me check my list. Either way, welcome to my modern world.